This is Wade Wilson. Who is this guy, and why was he all over the national news and TikTok? Yes, he was convicted and sentenced to death for the murder of 2 innocent women. Now, I don't mean to sound cold, but in Florida, it's not exactly unheard of. So what about this guy and this case made it so popular? This morning for breakfast, I'm taking a closer look at Wade Wilson. So, about a month ago, I was writing another episode, the one called Where Did All the Serial Killers Go? And in that video, I did a short segment on Wade here. And I knew pretty much right away that this dummy with a capital D deserved his own episode. And if you're coming into this video with zero info on this guy, they called him the Deadpool Killer. His name, Wade Wilson, that's the same name as the man behind the mask of the Marvel Comics character Deadpool.
I love you, Wade Wilson.
So, obviously, the press jumped on that pretty damn quick and started calling him the Deadpool Killer. And before you say it, no, he's not a serial killer. You're right. And no, he certainly isn't some criminal mastermind either. But anyway, this is an interesting case because it's just as much about what happened on the peripheral than in the case itself. But before I go any further, listen, I understand the irony here.
Isn't it ironic?
I'm making a video about Wade Wilson to complain about people giving attention to Wade Wilson. I get it. It's not lost on me, but what are you gonna do? So, with that out of the way, let's start on a very bad day in October. On October 7th, 2019, Wilson met Christine Melton and her friend Stephanie Sailors at Buddha Live, a Fort Myers bar. After the bar closed, Wade, Christine, and Stephanie went to Melton's home. After Stephanie left, Wilson strangled Melton as she slept in her bed and stole her car.
What's going on, man? You're waiting on your girlfriend? Oh, okay.
Soon after, Wilson saw 43-year-old Diane Ruiz walking in the street, asked her for directions, and lured her into his car. When she tried to exit the car, he strangled her before pushing her out of the car and running her over 10 to 20 times. He had never met either of these women before that day. So, what led to all of this? There's not a ton out there on Deadpool here's early life. What we do know is that he was adopted. So, yeah, about that whole Deadpool thing. Wade Wilson wasn't even really his birth name. That ruins it a bit, no? It's like when you find out that Elton John doesn't write his own lyrics. It's just not the same. Or like that Chef Boyardee... Wait, hold the phone. Chef Boyardee was a real guy? The fuck? No way. Should we go down this rabbit hole, guys? Will I lose too many viewers if I look into real life Boyardee and his saucy past? Maybe in another video. But my God, next I'm gonna find out that Toucan Sam was a real parrot, or that Tony the Tiger was based on a real life super athletic tiger. But back to WW. I'm not 100% positive he was even given a name at birth by his biological parents. Wikipedia doesn't list an alternate birth name, and he doesn't even have a listing on Murderpedia yet. Quick Google search, aside from getting him mixed up with the character, doesn't return any results either. So I'm gonna guess that he was, earmarked, if you will, for adoption before birth. It's stated he was born to teenage parents on May 20th, 1994, and then adopted by the Wilsons. Later on, he did have a relationship with his biological father, and his last name is Testaseca. So there's that. His bio mom, though, pretty much non-existent on the interwebs. I found this photo, but who knows if that's actually her. So, not to sound too cold or too heartless, I can't imagine the psychological and emotional toll that it must take on a mother and father to put their baby up for adoption. But talk about dodging a bullet this time, eh? His biological parents must have been watching all this going down in 2020 thinking, Looks like we made the right call there after all, eh, honey? I knew I didn't like the looks of that ultrasound. I guess it depends on where you sit on the whole nature versus nurture debate. But if your test is Seca, bio-dad, at least you could, point your finger at Steve and Candace Wilson. They did it. After his adoption, I can't piece much together about Wade's childhood. There's like 1 or 2 sentences out there. According to his adoptive parents, he was a good child who loved his parents and sisters and was loved in return. There was, however, mention of head injuries as a child. And yeah, when I read that, I got immediately, excited. It's not the appropriate word here, but yeah. Is this another guy to back up my swing set theory? If you don't know my swing set theory, now if you already know my swing set theory, feel free to skip ahead to this time code because I'm about to play it all back. It's basically just that when researching for this channel, it often comes to light that a lot of these bad dudes suffered head injuries as children. And a lot of the time, it's explicitly called out as a swing set injury. Let's watch a quick clip from another one of my episodes.
Every serial killer I've ever researched has a brain injury, and a lot of them have said that they have come from swing sets, a lot of them. I mean, yes. I think at least 15.
Metal monsters, I call them.
Well, or, it's kind of like what women used to say when they had abusive husbands, they walked into the door.
Right, so swing sets are like abusive husbands.
And don't forget, I started a campaign to have these metal monsters, as I call them, banned. Check out that video and join the movement. It's linked below in the description.
And together, we can knock out serial killing.
Alas, as excited as I was to add more ammunition to back up my theory, upon further digging, Wade was actually involved in 2 separate car crashes growing up where the vehicle slammed into a tree and he suffered head injuries. However, maybe, just maybe, those trees were cut down after the accident and made into lumber. And maybe, just maybe, some of that lumber was used to build a swing set. Long shot, I know, but hey, you never know.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one has jurisdiction over the truth.
And that's really it for Wade's formative years. But things start to change around 18. Okay, I'm gonna turn this over to my voice guy for a second. He does a great rap sheet rundown.
Thanks, Josh. Let me handle this.
Yeah, I know, that's what I just said. Go ahead.
Jeff Dahmer was an American...
No, you always do Dahmer. We're not talking about Dahmer, we're talking about Wade Wilson.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
You know what?
It won't happen again.
Never mind. You never listen to what I'm saying, and you just hop in and start. I'll just do it myself. So, between 2012 and 2019, Wade was in constant trouble with the law. Assault, battery, kidnapping, burglary, grand theft, firearm charges. He was even connected with the case of Denise Williams, who was convicted of conspiring to murder her husband. All in all, he did 2 separate stints behind bars. Essentially, the guy was on an escalating collision course with disaster, and only 3 months after his final arrest for battery on July 1st, 2019, he would commit murder not once, but twice in the same day.
We just got our hands on a police report detailing how a man named Wade Wilson was found covered in blood, hiding in a house in Northeast Cape. Now, at his court appearance this morning, a judge was firm with his decision to keep him in jail.
This is where things really started to go off the rails. To start, while awaiting trial in 2019, he tried to orchestrate an escape attempt from jail.
A couple of Lee County inmates have new charges this morning. The sheriff's office says they tried to escape from the Lee County jail.
Florida killer Wade Wilson accused of masterminding escape attempt from jail. The term mastermind gets thrown around a lot, don't you think? What or who do you think of when you hear mastermind? I don't know. For me, maybe like Ocean's 11 or, I don't know, Sting or something like that. Or in the prison sense, those guys who escaped Alcatraz in '62 after spending months creating this fucking Ferris Bueller dummy and fashioning a rubber dinghy out of over 50 prison-issued raincoats? Yeah, that's a true story. Whether or not they actually survived the trip across the bay, that's up for debate. But in the case of Mastermind Wade, put it this way, he was no Andy Dufresne. The article continues. The only window in the unit showed signs of tampering, with the metal frame holding the window removed and the thick security glassed window showing several cracks in it. So essentially he banged on a thick window hard enough that it cracked. And that's about as far as he got. What a genius. Can you imagine the sheer seconds of planning that must have gone into this attempt? Deadpool Killer, the mastermind escape artist. Good job, press. So, escape attempt thwarted. Wade's trial was set to begin in June of 2024. So, you look at this guy here, and if you ask me, he looks like a guy primed to go for sloppy steaks. Look at that haircut.
This is pushback.
But here's the thing. Those face tats, this cool dude look, complete with this super cool guy tat here, it's a relatively new look. This is his mugshot when he was arrested for the murders. Not such a cool dude there, huh? I mean, still some tats, but not nearly as many. He got himself arrested, sent to jail, and then decided to revamp his entire look, like some weird episode of Extreme Makeover. He must have thought to himself, how can I become notorious? A haircut, some face tats, and this suit. This suit is the blue equivalent of the Joker suit in Batman the Animated Series. I mean, I could slide him into the Dick Tracy poster and you wouldn't even notice. Listen, the guy knew he had the same name as Deadpool. Now was his chance to use it. He's like a fucking marketer's wet dream. It's almost as if he had like a reverse PR guy behind bars. And there's no such thing as bad press. And hey, it worked. All of a sudden, this double murderer, which are basically a dime a dozen in Florida, was all over the internet. His crimes, as terrible as they were, are no different than hundreds of others that happen practically every day in the great US of A. This guy saw his opportunity and jumped all over it. Look at his smug smile. He knows it. He has this look on the entire trial. He's wearing these comic book suits the entire trial. He's playing the media and the internet, especially those dummies over on TikTok, like a fucking fiddle, and we're all just dancing a jig and asking for more. But I don't want to give this guy too much credit in the brains department. They got him about as far as get cool suit and face tats. Enough to fool the dummies over on TikTok, but not this guy or these people. And together, they convicted Wade for the murder of the two innocent women and sentenced him to death. And you'd think that that would pretty much wrap things up, right? I mean, most of my episodes pretty much end at the conviction. Because usually, the bad guy gets locked up and that's mostly the end of the story. No more shenanigans. They live out their life fairly quietly behind bars, or in some cases, they're executed. That's not the case in this case. There are plenty of more shenanigans to talk about. But first, let's get serious just for a second here. The topic of mental health is raised in connection with this case a lot. Claims of a system that failed Wade to get the help he needed when red flag after red flag was raised. It's an incredibly important topic and one that must be looked at, studied, and addressed. But not on this channel. I'll leave that up to the professionals. I'll tell you where else mental health is a concern, though. Right here. They call themselves Wade Wives. And there's a lot of them. They make weird AI videos like this one of him crying with his defense lawyer. And half of them are convinced they're real videos. I had it happen to me, even one of my own posts on TikTok. Someone got upset with me and came to his defense. As far as I can tell, she's accusing me of being jealous of Wade. To which I responded, I'm not even gonna get into the Jesse and Andrea or, any of those wild phone calls from prison. You can look them up for yourself if you want. But honestly, I'm at a loss for the women who love this man. He literally is quoted by his father as saying he wanted to make his victim look like spaghetti by running her over with his car 10 times. This is a woman that he had never even met. What do you think he would do to you? So to any aspiring Wade wives out there, I'll say it again. I'm no mental health professional, but please, go find one and talk. And if you just have to find a fixer-upper guy, just lower the bar, okay? From, murdering monster with swastika face tattoo to just, mommy issues or lives in parents' basement or something. I don't know. But if you're interested in Wade, but not like in a romantic sense, you can always just join the Wade Steven Wilson official Facebook page. I did. They are here to fight for Wade. They are against the death penalty and... Oh, wait. Never mind. Looks like the page is just another gathering place for Wade wives. There's absolutely nothing official about this page other than just using the word official. Let's have a look at some of the recent posts.
God is in this story.
Let me ask you something here for a second. In the entire internet age of people glamorizing serial killers, has there ever, just once, been someone who has tasteful design sensibilities and Photoshop skills? I mean, look at these creations. So gaudy and tacky, every last one. Maybe I should make one. But look, I get it. You're not insane. You're not gonna join some fan club full of Wade wives. So you can show your support by picking up some merch over here at WadeWilsonMerch.com. Again, back to the comment about tasteful design, right? Can you imagine walking around town wearing one of these? Or this? In part of a phone call from prison, Wade gives his 2 cents on the merch.
I'm actually working on some designs right now. I was able to get a really good photo of you in your when you were in your all black with your red tie, and I was able to do the Wade made me do it underneath. It actually looks pretty cool.
I mean, he's laughing now, but the government will get the last laugh thanks to the Son of Sam law, which prevents criminals from profiting off their crimes. So he doesn't stand to see a cent from any of those sales. So, where do we go from here, people? Because I'm tired. I mean, we've seen similar before. Ramirez, the Night Stalker comes to mind, of course, and Ted Bundy. Looks and charm didn't save either of those guys, and they won't save Wade either. Neither will some face tats and a cool suit. I guess, as Oscar Wilde said, there's only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. Which circles me back to the unfortunate irony of this very video. But hey, at least I'm not glorifying or glamorizing the guy. In the meantime, I gotta say, wow, 10,000 subscribers. I can't thank all of you cornflakes. I'm gonna start calling you cornflakes. I can't thank you enough for getting me this far. I promise you the best is yet to come. So stick with me and continue to share, comment, and like, and all of that other YouTube engagement stuff. And if you're still watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, what the heck? Do it. And I'll be back again soon with more killer content.